On the 13th of December 2011, in the main shaft North 4 Drive E, an SPMM-related serious injury occurred, which subsequently led to an employee's untimely death. In this video, we will be discussing the details of the incident. On the morning of the 13th of December 2011, at approximately 4 a.m., a team leader and PTV fell asleep on the footwall against a pillar in North 4 Drive E. A colleague walked past and saw the two men sleeping, but did not wake them, and continued on her way. At the same time, an LHD was transporting ore from the blasted face to the tip. The driver of this LHD became thirsty, but he was incorrectly under the assumption that drinking water at the tip was contaminated and that people should refrain from drinking it. He had not been at the waiting place safety meeting earlier, where this instruction had been revised. As a solution to this problem, the LHD operator decided to ask the nearby rig operator for some of his drinking water. However, instead of walking over to the rig operator, the LHD driver decided to drive the vehicle there. He should have walked over to the rig operator instead, or even stopped his vehicle in a safe spot, as there was a sign clearly indicating that only drill rigs were allowed entry into this area. It must be noted that LHDs restrict the sight of its operators. The green areas indicate what the driver is able to see, and the red areas indicate what the driver would have trouble seeing. This includes the spot where the two men were sleeping. Without warning or sounding his horn, the LHD driver sharply turned into Drive E, whereupon he struck the two men who were sleeping against the pillar there. The PTV, who was lying further away from the corner, awoke and managed to jump up, but not before his right leg was struck by the vehicle. He managed to get the operator's attention and stop him, as he knew that the team leader had been beside him earlier and could thus be under the LHD. The team leader, who was lying closer to the corner of the pillar, was not so lucky, and as the LHD rounded the corner, it drove over him, pinning his lower abdomen under the vehicle. Injuries sustained as a result of this accident are: the PTV sustained soft tissue injuries of the right leg. The team leader sustained serious multiple injuries, namely a crushed pelvis, ruptured testes, burst bladder, ruptured spleen, and fractured ribs. Sadly, the team leader succumbed to his injuries and passed away 2 days later. Just think, he was never able to spend Christmas with his family or see the new year in. This type of loss doesn't just affect the immediate family. The sadness of this tragedy will remain long in the hearts of his friends and colleagues. Now, let us go through the aggravating circumstances that lead up to this accident. There were people sleeping underground. A passerby did not wake the sleeping man. There was a miscommunication regarding water at the tip being contaminated. The LHD operator did not report at the waiting place before starting his job. The LHD drove over to rig operator instead of walking. There was a failure by the LHD operator to give adequate warning before driving the machine around a corner. Improper operation of a TMM trackless mobile machine, in that the operator went around the corner and entered Drive E very close to the pillar, driving into an area when it was demarcated to indicate that other vehicles were not allowed to enter the area. Now, let us go through the various actions which will prevent a repeat of such an accident. No persons will be allowed to sleep underground. The sounding of hooters when TMMs negotiate corners will be enforced. Tramming routes must be planned, communicated, demarcated, and enforced. All TMM operators must be retrained to adhere to mine standards and procedures, and competency assessment will be conducted to ensure compliance. A proximity detection system must be installed mine-wide. No TMM must enter unauthorized areas. All workers must report at the waiting place before starting their jobs. This just goes to show that not following safety precautions is just not worth it. Thank you for taking the time to view this accident reconstruction presentation. I hope it will help you all to avoid such future incidents and to remain safe as you go about your work, allowing you to return home safely to your loved ones.